When you think of Portuguese football clubs, you'll think of Benfica, the most successful team in Portugal. You'll think of Sporting, the most important team in Portugal. That's the club that gave the world Cristiano Ronaldo. You'll think of Porto, the giants of northern Portugal, with a full trophy cabinet. One team you'll never think of is Moreirense. But you probably should, because Moreirense has a fascinating history. And they have 5 league titles. None of them were in the first division. But that's okay. Braga and Vitória have never won the first division. Moreirense's 5 league titles are 3 more than what Braga has. And their 5 league titles are 5 more than what Vitória has. So today, I'm going to Moreira de Cónegos to see Moreirense take on Casa Pia. My name is Howie. This is Positively Portugal. Let's get into it. So before we hit the road, I want to read to you a little bit about the history of Moreirense. And my thanks go out to Wikipedia for this because there's no way I could have found this on my own. Moreirense was founded in 1938. It first reached the second division, then called the Liga de Honra, in 1995, where they stayed 5 seasons. After being relegated back to the third division, then called the Segunda Divisão, manager Manuel Machado took the team and in 2 years managed 2 promotions, getting the team to the Primeira Liga, the first division, for the first time. He led them for 2 more seasons in which Moreirense achieved 2 mid-table positions, finishing as high as 9th place in that latter season. After Machado departed for neighboring Vitória, the club suffered 2 consecutive relegations, only returning again to the second division in 2010 and the first division in 2012. After an immediate relegation, the team won the 13-14 Segunda Liga, which was then the second division, under manager Tony Conceição. Moreirense achieved its first top-level national title on January 29, 2017, winning the League Cup final, the Taça da Liga final, by defeating Braga. In 2018-19, manager Ivo Vieira led Moreirense to a best-ever 6th place finish. They missed out on 5th place only on goal difference. But who did they lose out to? Vitória. Then Vieira left Moreirense to go to Vitória. Following 2 8th place finishes, the team was relegated in 21-22, a season in which they had 3 managers. Then, under Paulo Alves, Moreirense returned to the first division in 2022-23. They took 79 from a possible 102 points, the highest in an 18-team season of the league, and the highest percentage ever taken from any season of it. Alves left at the end of that season. He was replaced by Rui Borges, who got Moreirense back to that best ever 6th place finish. Then Borges left Moreirense to go to Vitória. So, Guimarães definitely has a favorite son. And unfortunately for Moreirense fans, that favorite son is Vitória. But without further delay, I have a train to catch. So we're going to pick up this video in Moreira de Cónegos. Hello once again, this time from Moreira de Cónegos. And to my surprise, this place is even less built up than Vila das Aves. There's not a business district. I'm kind of on the business block here, across the street from Novo Banco, my mortal enemy. Behind me in the trees, there's the Stadium Bar, which I think is open. It looks open. And there's the stadium. There's really nothing to see here, and I just kind of picked a private place to shoot this. Obviously, I will have more videos for you inside of the stadium. Now, one thing that I don't like doing here is I don't record when there's a bunch of people around or when people are working, or I usually don't ask to interview anybody. I don't believe I ever have, to be honest. The reason why is, look, I'm in Moreira de Cónegos. These people are just living their lives. This is not like going to Lisbon or Porto. I know there's a better story to be told with the actual football club, Moreirense. But as for the town itself, yeah, there's zero reason to come here. There's even less of a reason to come here than there is to go to Aves. Now, one piece of advice that I can offer this little town here, there is a modern invention. You may or not have heard of it, but it is called a fucking sidewalk. There's no sidewalks in this town. I shouldn't say no sidewalks, but like 90% of this town has no sidewalks. You're just walking in streets where you can get run over. So getting back to the train station in Cuca, or maybe that's in Moreira de Cónegos and it's just called Cuca, that's going to be a bit of an adventure. I'm not going to be drinking too much today because I have to make sure that I don't get hit by a car. Well, this is not exactly what I was planning on reporting here, but I think we're going to have a much better time inside of the stadium. And in the meantime, I'm going to find a place to get a couple of beers, maybe some lunch, and we'll pick this up inside the stadium. Okay, so we are at Moreirense Stadium. It has way too many words for me to remember the title. Now, I will say that when you're watching on television at home, this stadium looks like complete crap. Especially with that wall over there, that wall nonsense. But that being said, in person, this looks a whole hell of a lot better. And you can actually see that almost all of the seats are covered by an overhang. So if it rains here, you're okay. You're really not going to get wet. This is one of those rare stadiums that it comes off on television looking like complete crap. But in person, it's a whole hell of a lot better. Now, don't get me wrong. If they got rid of that wall there and put actual seats, yeah, this would be a really nice place. Now, when you look up Moreirense on Wikipedia, it says that this stadium holds 9,000 people. I can tell you right now, the stadium does not hold 9,000 people. When you look up the stadium on Wikipedia, it says that it holds 6,153 people. And I think that's a lot more accurate than 9,000. But I don't want to take away from the fact that this is a very underrated stadium. And I kind of have the feeling that it would be. The success that Moreirense has had in the last 30 years, you know, it wouldn't be that way if the stadium was a complete shithole like it is in Aves. And yes, in Aves, that stadium is a complete shithole. Now, the town of Aves, Vila das Aves, is more built up than Moreira de Cónegos. But it's just a depressing place to be. Others walk past me, they're looking at me like I'm completely insane. Maybe I am. But this is Moreirense, this is Moreira de Cónegos. Not a good place to live, but this football club is definitely something special. Alright, so this game has kicked off now, and one thing that I noticed is that there's no scoreboard. Unlike last week where I found it, eventually because I was sitting in front of it, behind me, here I can confidently say there's no scoreboard. What you can see is a tiny non-graphic scoreboard, which I can't consider scoreboard. Here's the visiting fans in Pasadena. Not many of them, but probably more than what I expected. Because getting here is ridiculous. If you're in Lisbon, you gotta take a bus or a train or a plane to Porto, and then get to Guimarães, and then get to Moreira de Cónegos. Again, I want to stress that the stadium, which looks terrible, does not look as bad in person. But again, that's our sports. So it's really not acceptable. It's better at. atmosphere than an Irish actual people you're supporting the team. But in Amish, there is a scoreboard that had actual graphics. We're gonna eventually find a stadium that I like. Then the Donald Farm Show in Reach. I've also been to the Gargano in Portland, but that was 6 years ago now. Again, I guess to sum it up, not good, better than I expected. The town is really, really not a nice place to be. But you gotta have a scoreboard. That's a non-starter. You have to have a scoreboard. So I'm gonna try to stay to the end of this. I'm guaranteed that I will. I realize now that I never set the final score of last week's game. Just so you know, Santa Clara beat ABS 2-1. Trying to give you a good feel for what this is like. This is Moreirense FC. This is Moreira de Cónegos. And I gotta say, for the size of this town, it's amazing what Moreirense has accomplished in the last 30 years. Huge credit to them. So, wrap this up either at the train station or at home in Moreirense. Well, for reasons unbeknownst to me, Moreirense was awarded a penalty. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary happen. I don't know why this is taking place, but it's happening. This is a thing. Let's see if they can convert. All the Casapia fans. Here we go. Moreirense takes a 1-0 lead in the 11th minute. It's all wild. Even the scoreboard is updated now. So we have another penalty here, and I don't know how this is called because all the action is on the other side of the field. This really makes no sense. The ball is not, never mind in the box, it wasn't even on the side of the field. I don't know why a penalty is being called. It's like they're making up these rules as they go along. that was on the right side of the field. This is nonsense. The ball was never on this side of the field. I don't know why a penalty was called. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. For the first time in a very long time, I left the game early. And that's just in any sport, not necessarily soccer/football. But I left for two reasons. Number one, the game was complete nonsense. Moreirense was up 3-0 at halftime. The first two goals were penalties. The first goal, I did not see the foul. That's not to say that it didn't happen. It very well might have. I was not giving 100% of my attention to the game. But the second goal is complete nonsense. I didn't even see the goal in their end because it looked to me like Casapia was the one that was attacking. So I don't know where that foul came from. That second penalty was very sketchy, and that's putting it as nicely as possible. Now, the third Moreirense goal was really nice. I mean, you could even say it was beautiful. So when you combine the fact that it was a 3-0 game with the reality of there not being sidewalks in Moreira de Cónegos, it was time to go home. It's time to go back to Guimarães. I'm not asking for any amenities. Look, I understand Moreira de Cónegos is not going to have a Continente. But for God's sake, you got to have sidewalks. Get with it, man. Get with it. So I was not going to risk stadium traffic and getting run over by a car. I'm stunned that I left the game at halftime. Doesn't even matter that it was 3-0. Because I don't do that. But you got to do what you got to do when you feel that your life may be at risk. Well, I'm waiting for the train now at Cuca, which is in Moreira de Cónegos. Now, it's only 5 stops to get to Guimarães. I'm only going to be on this train for 15 minutes when it comes. However, I'm going to have to wait a good 40 minutes for this train to come. Let's sum it up. Moreirense is a better club than AVS. They have a better stadium than AVS. But the actual town of Moreira de Cónegos, it's like the land that time forgot. And not only was it a matter of not having sidewalks in this town, I couldn't even find a place for lunch. Almost every place was just serving coffee or beer. Maybe I could get a pastel de nata or something sweet like a croissant with chocolate on it. You know, I don't have a sweet tooth. And that's one of the things that I guess really, I don't want to say prevents me from getting used to life in Portugal, but I'm a little different. I see people here just shoveling, sweets down their throats, whether they're pastel de natas or other kind of pastries, croissants with chocolate and all sorts of sugar on it. That's not me. Now, I like something sweet if it's a high quality product, if it's made really well. But I'm not the kind of person that's going to be, patronizing a business for your average run-of-the-mill pastel de nata. I'm not one of these Oreo or M&M eaters. I just don't really have a sweet tooth. So finding lunch was a problem. I eventually went to the Bar do Moreirense. They have their own little bar adjacent to the stadium. And I got a pretty nice bacalhau fritter sandwich for €2. No, I mean, look, it's better than eating dessert for a meal. I find myself again disappointed by this trip, but I don't want any of that to take away from the fact that I have the utmost respect for the two teams that I saw playing today, Moreirense and Casapia. Well, we're going to try this again next week. We're going to go somewhere else, and hopefully we have a better experience. So if you want more videos about Portugal, moving here, the process of getting here, Portuguese football, anything Portugal related, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. These are the number one things you can do, the best things you can do to help a content creator on YouTube. I want to thank you all for watching, and Forza Vittoria.